All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be covering Epic Beer Trips and the BrewDog Collab trip to England. I have Captain Kurt from Epic Beer Trips and Jason, BrewDog USA EFP community member. So we'll go ahead and let the guys say hello. Kurt, let everybody know where you're coming from today.
Yeah, Captain Kurt here from Epic Beer Trips. I'm coming to you from the new BrewDog in London, BrewDog Waterloo. So if it's a little noisy in the background, that's okay. It's all good. This is a fantastic place. Great beers, unbelievable setup, little bowling alley, slide. The list goes on. But thanks for joining us, and look forward to answering questions you guys might have about the upcoming trip to England with BrewDog.
Awesome. Thanks, Kurt. All right. Jason, what's up?
Hey everybody, I'm Jason. I am the EFP USA Community Manager. We had a really great booth at our EFP tent for AGM last Saturday, so we got some great questions from folks who are interested in joining the trip, and we're just really excited to be working with Kurt, who is of course himself an equity punk, to promote his business and have an awesome time traveling the world drinking beers.
There you
Awesome.
go. There you
Perfect. Yeah, so to just give everyone the scoop, the trip to England happening May 14th through 19th of 2023. We're starting to make plans now. There are only 12 hotel rooms booked out at the BrewDog in Manchester. So we're going to be filling those slots quickly. So if you're interested, definitely jump on board. At least, shoot us an email, fill out the form on the site. That way we can get a dialogue going, answer any other questions, but we're going to be diving into that today. So just to give everyone the scoop, you will stay in one place, which is the BrewDog in Manchester, but then there are day excursions. You get to go to York, Liverpool, Leeds, do some cool Beatles stuff, drink lots of beer, BrewDog obviously, but also hit some other cool breweries. So we're going to go into a little bit of a Q&A. So I'm going to let Jason kind of take it away here. Kurt and I will be answering a few questions. And just to give you the scoop, I went on Kurt's last trip. We went to Scotland. So that was a blast. We stayed at the BrewDog in Edinburgh. So that's why I can kind of backfill some of all of the good things that you can expect on a epic beer trip.
All right, so the first question is pretty basic, and it's just where can folks go to view the agenda and get more info?
Yeah, it's great. So just go to epicbeertrips.com. You'll see a tab there. It'll say England with BrewDog. Click on that. It gives you the day-by-day itinerary, a list of all the activities we're going to do. Each day we'll have a different focus and a different setup. Common theme, beer. And we're going to hang out at some great breweries in Manchester, of course, the BrewDog Outpost, also Cloudwater. Then when we go to York, we're going to go to Brew York, and then Leeds, Northern Monk, and Liverpool's got a brand new brewery. We're going to be launching or telling you what that is here in a little bit. But so each day we'll go to a different place. Plus, we'll also hit the BrewDog locations, and the punks can get their own customized personal flight as well. So I had a tough task last week. I went to all these places. So I stayed at the Doghouse. I went over to Liverpool. Also, when we go to Liverpool, we're going to do the Beatles Magical Mystery Tour. So if you like the Beatles, even if you don't, that was unbelievable. So I went to Liverpool, of course, Manchester, Leeds, and York. So that's a tough week out of my life, but somehow I made it through. It's all good.
Well, we're all very grateful for you to sacrifice your time like that, Kurt, and go drink all those beers.
There you go. Yes.
So all the things that you just mentioned, all the day trips, the hotel and everything, is that all included? That's kind of the next question, is looking at that ticket price and what's all included to go along with that.
Yeah, so basically it's a set price, and we have the shared room price, single room price. The price includes, of course, your night stay at the BrewDog Doghouse in Manchester. Great facility. You've heard of like a tap takeover. This is going to be like a hotel takeover. So it's a small hotel, but our goal is to take over every room. So you get your lodging covered. You also get transportation to and from the airport, breakfast every day, generally one other meal each day, and what I call all other beer-related activities. You'll get, each day we'll do some different tastings, what we call Meet the Brewers tastings, and some specialized things. And you get, of course, a refrigerator of shower beers. So, and Tess, you can maybe talk a little bit about the Scotland trip. No one went away from that trip going, geez, I didn't get beer.
No, I mean, our crew are definitely like to indulge, and we certainly were not thirsty at any point. Pretty much from the time you woke up and we got started fairly early, you kind of had a beer waiting. There were a couple of pubs that we actually went to before they were open, and these are, it's not a 2 p.m. bar. I think it's like 11 a.m. and we're like waiting outside. We're ready. But that was awesome. That was the pub in St. Andrews that we went to, which was really cool because it was just before the open. They were getting ready. So we kind of got to see the whole, the charades that are going on there. That was really cool. But the Meet the Brewer stuff was awesome. Really enjoyed that. We went to some cool bottle shops, and Kurt was definitely generous. Okay, after the tasting, grab the bottle that you want, take back. Everyone got to kind of kick it at the hotel. Obviously, the shower beers are pretty special, but also just kind of having that community space that we were able to kind of do little bottle shares and things like that with each other was really cool. Kind of a full experience of beer at all times, which is what Epic Beer Trip should be about. So I'm glad that it was delivered.
There you go. Also, I forgot to say that the ground transportation when we're there. So we're generally going to probably use the train most likely to get to and from each city we go to. And the cool thing about the way Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, and New York are set up, they're all about anywhere from 30 to about a little bit over an hour away from each other. So we can do day trips to all these places. The plan is to use the train system to do that. So we'll have a backup bus option as well. Over here, the guys in the train lines occasionally like to go on strike. So we'll have a plan B in case that happens to get people to all the cool places we're going to go to.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So following up with that there's a lot going on, but a couple people have had questions about, could they do a trip like this for less money?
Yeah. You know what? They probably could. They could take a trip to Manchester and stay in the doghouse. We get a special rate because of our group deal, so they could stay there. It's going to cost them a little bit more for their room. And they could do day trips to all these places. One of the things that we're going to focus on and do is what we call the Meet the Brewer sessions. And these are just private, small group deals where we're going to do special tasting sessions and we're actually going to interact with the brewers. These are things that, that we set up and really it's a specialized thing that the average person off the street's not going to be able to walk in and get that type of inside scoop. So could you do it on your own for less? Yeah, you could, but you probably wouldn't get the same level of beery excitement.
Yeah, so I think for me, it was also, obviously those special aspects were critical. We even got to go lawn bowling at a private club. No one's able to do that. So, that might not be on the Manchester list, but look out for other exciting things. But also just having basically a concierge at all times of, Kurt's going to handle things. If shit goes wrong, you look to him, to have that experience was just, it's a relief when you're on vacation. You don't want to deal with the nonsense. Even planning the trip, he was kind of, gave us the rundown. What's international travel like right now post-COVID? Here's what you need to know. Don't forget about these things. Basically had someone, momming you in a very great way. So it was great to kind of not have to worry about anything other than show up, have fun, everything's done for you. And definitely those kind of little trips and things that we wouldn't have even known existed. The brewery Overtone, I wasn't even aware of how cool they were until we got to meet the brewer, and now I'm seeing them everywhere. So it's just like, oh wow, these behind the scenes things really make it a special trip. And if you're doing an international trip, do it right. You don't get to do that often.
Right. Well,
go ahead, Kurt.
You touched on something else when we were in Scotland. We set up a deal with a local brewer. We made this Scottish ale called the Epic Naz Scottish Ale. We had guys from the band Nazareth show up, rock legends, signing autographs and giving everybody vinyl and all that stuff. So just those extra things that I put together and just adds to that element of fun.
Yeah, that was just a question that I would get from time to time, and I'll admit to everyone, I have not yet been on an Epic Beer Trip, but everything that I've heard from both of these two who have been, and also just from Kurt with working on this, there are a lot of almost money can't buy kinds of things, and as Tessa said, just having that curated, you know, experience when you're there is really great. I just had a friend who went to Italy and did a hiking trip that involved beer, and it was the same deal where, you know, had to fly yourself over there, but once you arrived, pretty much everything was taken care of. So thank you both for laying that out, and especially for getting into that Meet the Brewer, because that was another question that we were getting a lot, was what's that all about? And just knowing that that's a behind the scenes kind of thing, something that Kurt has been over there to set up. He's talking with all these brewers. They're on board to do special tastings, special bottles, stuff like that. I think that that's a really awesome point that everyone can get really, really excited about. So to follow up on that then, Kurt, can you tell us a little more about the breweries that we're planning to visit on this trip?
Yeah, so far we have relationships set up with Cloudwater. They're in Manchester, and I know they've done some collab work with BrewDog before. It's just a great Manchester, you know, brewery and brewers there. Just crank out unbelievable. I drank some New England IPAs there that were just phenomenal. They have this huge area of just vats of beer aging. You know, so I'm talking to the brewer. I'm like, hey, so what's all this going on? And he's like, oh, these are just different projects we have going on. We blend them. And I'm like, hey, could we do some type of barrel tasting thing? And, you know, I don't have that in writing from him yet, but, you know, he's leaning in that direction. So Cloudwater is just a legendary, you know, brewer over there in Manchester. Plus, they're all over the UK as well. But and then over in Leeds, a brewery called the Northern Monk. And I told them, I was like, yes, originally I was attracted to your beer because of your logo. So it's just one of those things. And it's just there's a really good group of people and legendary, you know, brewers in the Leeds area. There's phenomenal beers there as well. And then in York, there's a brewer there called Brew York. Just, again, great beer. And each of these brewers, they have their own type of individual vibe and inside kind of, this is kind of what we focus on, and just some really good, just great beers. I mean, I met with all of them when I was there last week, and this new brewer in Liverpool, was not able to meet with them, but I'll get on track with them before we get things rolling as well. So
yeah, I'm stoked about Cloudwater. I actually saw someone at AGM this weekend with a shirt on and talked to them a little bit. They're from Manchester. They were repping at the festival. One of the friends that he was with is going on the trip with us over to England. So that's awesome. Even have some locals kind of coming along, you know, giving some feedback of, you know, some more things to do as well. So should be a good trip, and it sounds like the lineup's really great for this one.
Cool thing about all these people is when I described to them what Epic Beer Trips is all about, and I was like, look, we want to be able to give people something they could not walk in off the street and get. And they all you know, the three that I met with, they all got it, you know, and also Paul at the BrewDog Outpost there in Manchester as well. So we're going to be working on a specialty beer with him. More to come on that, but they all got it. They all kind of, okay, yeah, we want to create this environment that's something that people just couldn't walk off the street and get it. And we'll get those things firmed up as we get closer to next May.
Awesome. Thank you both. So this is really easy because that just leads me right into the next question. It's kind of a two-parter. So with all that we have going on, visiting the BrewDog bars, getting flights, staying in the hotel, and then doing these day trips, people have asked if they're going to have free time during the day trips to do other things, and also if they're able to extend their own trip before and after the Epic Beer trip.
Yeah, so there's kind of two parts there. The first thing is, in any given day, we'll do a beer-related activity. You know, I'll just give you an example. When we go to Liverpool, we'll stop in the BrewDog tap room there. People can create their own personalized flight. Then we'll go do the activity with the Liverpool brewer, and then we'll do the Beatles Magical Mystery Tour. That's a quick 35-minute train ride. So after we're done with all that, people can hang out in Liverpool. If they want to ride back, if we all go back at 5 or 6 later in the day, they can do that. Or if they want to stay till later, they can. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility. If you go to TripAdvisor and read some of the reviews that Epic Beer Trips has, one of the things that pops out is people say, yeah, we had a great time, but we also had enough time to do some things on our own and really kind of get out there and explore and do some of those things. So a little bit of a balance of both. So that's important. Now, the other thing, one of the reasons I picked May for this trip is the Premier Soccer League in England is still going to be playing at that time. And, you know, if you follow soccer, you kind of know that there's a couple teams in Manchester. There's one in Liverpool. There's one in Leeds. And if you want to come a couple days early and take in a soccer game, that's not part of the trip. But what I'm starting to see with the Epic Beer Trips, people are either coming a couple days early or they're sticking around a couple days and just doing some things on their own. So, you know, we'll give you the start and end dates and all that stuff. If you want to come early, you're booking your own flight, so you can do whatever you want and, you know, explore on your own and have some fun that way.
Yeah, one of the cool things on our trip with the free time was that also kind of everyone in the crew, you know, we were new friends. You know, I had a friend that went with me, but we were meeting new people that we all share a common interest, right? Or a couple, beer and travel, if nothing else. And it was kind of like, hey, we're going to this pub. If anyone else wants to go, open invite. Or, you know, we're going to go on a hike. Who wants to meet up? And kind of everyone's kind of, you know, you're allowed to do your own thing. It feels good to, you know, kind of have a little bit of camaraderie with people as well. So was kind of able to build those relationships, and even now, you know, kind of came out of it with a few new friends, even that I got to see over at AGM. So that was awesome. And I think that we'll be certainly beer tripping again together. Absolutely.
Yep. The cool thing about that too is then the next day, the stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Who didn't go home early last night?
Or if they found a place that was cool, they'll tell other people and they can go there on their own, you know. So we've also had some equity punks from across the pond reach out and say, hey, you need some insight into each of these, you know, cities, and we can provide that as well. So we'll provide some additional places. If you want to, you know, branch out on your own, go for it. Yeah, we'll give you some guidance there. If you want to hang with the group, that's cool too. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, Kurt, because there have been some equity punks who have said on the forum and other places that, you know, maybe they weren't going to join for the whole trip, but, oh, you know, if this group wants to meet up with a bunch of equity punks at one of the BrewDog bars or another local pub, they'd still be interested in joining up, meeting up, and again, just kind of, as Tessa was saying, you know, making new friends. And that's one of the great things about Equity for Punks is, you know, not only can we highlight yourself as one in your business, but then people can meet each other from all over the world, having that common interest of BrewDog and beer in general.
Yeah, I anticipate that we'll have a lot of help from punks in Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, and York.
Yep,
so that's going to be good.
Absolutely. So again, leads right into the next question. So obviously we're all based in the US here, including your business, Kurt. So people are asking two things. One, can non-equity punks join the trip? And two, if you're an equity punk or just another person outside of the US, can you join the trip?
Yeah, so anyone can go on the trip. We started out the initial marketing pushes to the equity punk community, just because I'm a punk. I believe it's just a great community. I went on the BrewDog airline trip several years ago to Scotland. It's a great group. So the initial marketing push is to that group. If we sold all 12 rooms to equity punks, that would be awesome. But you know, the trip is open to anybody, so you don't have to be an equity punk to join. And it's open to anyone in the United States or really any place in the world. So submit your deposit and some of those things via PayPal. We'll get that all worked out. The best thing I urge people to do, if they're interested in the trip, just go to the website, epicbeertrips.com. There's a form there. Just fill out the form and you'll give us some information. I'll reach out to you and I'll answer any additional questions you might have, and we'll take it from there. So far, I've had a lot of interest. We've sold a couple rooms already. I've had interest from a lot of people, punks in the U.S., also punks over in Manchester as well. So come one, come all. It's all good.
All right. So going back a little bit to extending the trip, if you go a few days early, whatnot, one question that people have asked is, where do they meet if they're already in England before the trip?
Yeah. So basically, if they're already in England, we can confirm that. For if you're flying in at the beginning of the trip, we'll be at the airport to meet you, and we'll have ground transportation to get you to the hotel. If you're coming in from another spot, say you fly into London, go to London for a couple days, or you're taking the train in from London, which is an easy train ride, we can clarify those details, and we'll get you. Actually, the train station to the Manchester Doghouse is a 10-minute walk. It's actually easier to get there from than it is the airport. The airport's about a 25-minute cab ride. So, but just, we'll figure out where you're coming from, and we'll get you to where you need to be.
All right. So really, that also covers how do I book? Is everything done through the website? Reach out to Kurt there. So really the last big question that I was getting from Equity Punks is, when do they need to decide? When do they need to have this trip booked by in order to make sure they get a slot?
Yeah, so basically we have 12 rooms, okay? And a room includes one king bed. So it's either, one person in the king bed, could be two people in a king bed. When the 12 rooms are booked and the 12 rooms are gone, the trip will be confirmed, and we'll go from there. At that point, I'll tell you to book your airfare and all that. So it's basically, the deadline, and we have a deadline about 5 months ahead of the trip for that. But when the rooms are booked, and when we have all 12 and people pay a deposit, you'll sign a contract that says, okay, you're in. And then when the trip's confirmed, you'll get some information about when you have to pay the rest of the fees for the trip.
Yeah, and that's all made pretty easy from the website. It's all done through PayPal. So to be registered, you don't fill out the form first. You don't even have to pay the deposit. If you want to chat with Kurt, chat with someone about the trip a little bit more, that's totally cool. Once you're ready to go, $500 deposit through PayPal. So really easy. Everyone, either you don't even have to have an account, but kind of something everyone's familiar with. And then you'll get the scoop on paying the remainder of the trip once it's confirmed, once we get those 12 rooms sold. But it's all pretty streamlined process that, Captain Kurt will walk you through, no problem.
Oh, yeah. It's what we do here at Epic Beer Trips.
All right, guys. Well, those were all the questions that I had from Equity Punks. So unless you guys have anything else to add to that, I think we're pretty set.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate Jason you taking the time to help us out here. Jason's going to be on the trip as well. Tess, we haven't talked about it. Tess went to Scotland.
Oh, I plan on going.
All right. Yeah, I'm like, Tess, you need to, after I spent the time up there last week, I'm like, Tess, you really, I'm thinking Tess really needs to go on this trip.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm in.
But I appreciate you both taking the time to do this today. So we're going to record this. You can watch it on demand. If you have any additional questions, like I said, go to the website, fill out a form, or you can just drop me an email directly at kurt@epicbeertrips.com. And I'll reach out to you, put your phone number and all that good stuff in there, and we'll go from there. So thanks, everyone, for taking the time to do this. I'm going to go. I'm almost done with my beer here at BrewDog Waterloo. I'm going to go down the stairs. They have a really cool bowling alley here. It's kind of like the Duck Pins bowling alley. So I didn't get a chance to bowl the other day when I was here. So I'm going to do that today, as well as they have a slide. I don't know.
I need video of the slide, Kurt.
Yeah, when you put a slide in a bar, you kind of have to do it. But I tell you, if you come over here to London, here would be a great trip. You come to London a couple days ahead. You hang out. I've been to 6 or 7 of the BrewDog bars already in London. This is the newest. Hit all those. Take the train up to Manchester. Hang with us, and then take the train back and fly out at Heathrow. So when you're here, definitely go down the slide. So that's my recommendation.
Perfect. Well, good luck scouting for us. Jason,
right.
Can't wait to see you in England, if not sooner. And everybody, go to epicbeertrips.com. You can get the trip agenda there. Go ahead and put it on the calendar. Go ahead and sign up while there are still rooms available. There's only 12. And as Kurt said, we're kind of looping the BrewDog and Equity Punks crew in first. That's who we know we'll have a lot of fun with. Then it'll be kind of opened up to everybody. But let's go ahead and send those emails, head on over to the website, and it's going to be an awesome trip. You guys want to be there.
Cheers.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right. See you.